Hey guys, it's Mikayla and welcome back to another video. And welcome to the first installment of a new series I like to call Testing DIYs So You Don't Have To. There are millions of videos online of people doing all these DIYs and they make them look effortless. No issues, no mistakes, no stress. And as someone who's done many a DIY in her time, I'm here to tell you that's fake. If you are a normal human being and not a carpenter or a woodworker or something like that, it's very rare for these DIYs to go off without a hitch like you see in these videos. So I'm here to test out these DIYs and give you the honest tea of whether they're actually worth doing. And today, we're going to be building a DIY vanity. One of, if not the most popular vanity out there on the market right now is the Impressions Vanity Slay Station, as you can see from the dozens of videos of this product on YouTube. And one of these vanities can run you close to $3,000. And that's not even for the mirror. That is just for the vanity itself. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I don't have that kind of money to be spending on a table. In comes the Impressions Vanity Dupes, and that is what we'll be testing today. As you can see, I am sitting in front of the vanity that I made, so at the very least, you can see that it did get built. But the process of building it, not exactly the smoothest. So let's get into the process of actually making this vanity. But before we do, please give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and be sure to hit that notification bell so you're notified of when I post new videos. And with that, let's test this DIY. Starting off with the materials, you're going to need 2 sets of drawers, a closet shelf, and adhesive. That's it. Now, I wanted to take this DIY a little further and make it match not only my style, but the other furniture I have in my room. So optional materials include contact paper if you need it to make the closet shelf match your drawer set, table legs, which will give this vanity a lot more height, and of course, a mirror depending on what you're going to be using this vanity for. And all the materials you see in this video, I did purchase myself. This is in no way sponsored, but I did want to be honest about this mirror behind me. When I tell you guys I never win things, I'm just not a very lucky person when it comes to that, but I actually won this mirror in an Instagram giveaway. Impressions Vanity actually did a giveaway with Alicia Marie. Shout out to Alicia Marie. I know you're not watching this, but I love you. And I actually won this mirror. So that's what actually sparked the idea for this video. Thank you to Impressions Vanity for letting me win the giveaway. That's insane. And I did want to just be honest with that up front because I have this mirror. You don't need this mirror. You can get a mirror from anywhere. And all of the materials I used in this video will be linked below in the description box if you guys are interested in recreating this DIY yourself. So to start off, I had to build the drawer sets. That was step 1.
This is the drawer set I purchased. I got mine from Home Depot, but they sell the exact same one on Amazon and Walmart, I believe. I compared all 3 of my options and I went with Home Depot. I thought it was the best for me price-wise and quality-wise. I also like that they have this drawer set in this pine color and white in case you do want like a normal white vanity. Now this clip you see of me putting the drawer set together was an 1.5 hour long clip sped up. That is how long it took me to get the bare minimum done that you're going to see in this video. It wasn't necessarily the directions that made putting this together more difficult. It was really just how you actually put this thing together. There were a lot of pocket holes that my drill wouldn't fit into. Things weren't really aligning properly and tightening correctly. All in all, it just isn't the nicest piece of furniture. It's pretty cheap. As you can see here, it's not the most sturdy, but it got the job done. I did just want to give you guys a heads up though. I put a lot of furniture together and this one kind of sucked, not gonna lie. It ended up taking me many hours to get both of them put together completely.
Now the height of these drawer sets was only 25.4 inches and that was with the wheels. And I chose not to put the wheels on them because I knew I did not want this thing moving around. So I knew I was going to have to get some sort of table legs to attach to it so it would bring it up off the floor and make it the proper height for what I needed. Keep that in mind. This is not something you have to do. You can just have it on the floor flat, but it is a little short, so beware. So step 2 was installing the legs onto the drawer sets to give it the height that I needed.
The table legs that I got were these from Amazon. I love these little hairpin style table legs, and these are great because you can choose between 4, 6, 8, 12, 14, and 16-inch legs to make the piece of furniture exactly the height that you want it to be. I went with the 6-inch legs for what I needed. Here you see me marking the holes in the legs with a Sharpie so I can know exactly where to drill. There was a hole right here that did not line up with the vanity bottom, so that wasn't ideal, but it worked out. I drilled my little pilot holes into the Sharpie marks that I made because the screws were not screwing in until I did this, so you had to get a little hole started. After I drilled all of the pilot holes, I drilled all of the screws in about halfway just to make sure that they were all going to go in. And as you can see here, after I did that, I went back and tightened all of the screws down completely so that they were flush to the piece of furniture. And after tightening all of the holes with the drill, I went back in with my screwdriver, tightened them down completely to make sure that these legs were not going anywhere.
Now, if you guys have seen any vanities like this, you would know that they typically come white, but I don't have any white furniture in my house, so I knew that I needed to make it black. Searching for a black closet shelf was impossible. I could not find one anywhere that was going to match the length and the width that I needed it to be. All right, guys, we just got to Lowe's. We're about to go hopefully get this closet shelf. Hopefully they have it in stock. Let's find out together.
I scoured the internet up and down trying to find a black closet shelf that was the proper length and width that I needed it to be, and I could not find one anywhere that was not insanely expensive. Lowe's ended up having a black closet shelf too, but it just wasn't the proper dimensions, so I ended up going with this white one from Blue Hawk.
I had to get a white closet shelf and I had to get black wood contact paper that I could wrap the shelf in to make it look like it was a black wooden shelf, and so it would match the drawer sets. And this ended up being so much harder than I thought it was going to be, like for no reason.
I got my black wooden contact paper from Amazon, and on this specific product listing, they had a bunch of dimensions you could choose for the paper to be, so that was really helpful. I ended up just going with the dimensions that gave me a little bit of extra room on the sides of the closet shelf so that I could fold the paper underneath the closet shelf and make it a smooth finish on the top. So I started by lining the bottom of the closet shelf. This was not really something I was trying to make perfect because I knew it was going to be on the bottom and it was not going to be visible. So with that, I would just say don't really stress it. Just put the paper on the bottom so you can make sure it's black. Now the top was a little bit more stressful. I started by peeling a little bit off and trying to smooth it out with a debit card, but I thought it was scratching the paper. So I ended up switching to this Angry Birds card from Dave & Buster's. It was a little more plasticky and a little less rough, and I thought it would do a little bit of a better job. Here you can see that there is paper underneath that I folded from the first layer that I put on the bottom, and it was actually showing through the top layer, if you guys can kind of see. So I ended up having to take the paper off and cut around the perimeter of the closet shelf for the layer underneath so that it wouldn't be coming up onto the layer that this paper was going on. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it was a little confusing, but kind of just try and watch what I'm doing. I'm smoothing as I'm going, pulling the paper back, smoothing, and I did that down the entire thing. It didn't end up perfect. The sides are a little rough because I had to fold it over and I tried to smooth it out as best as I could, but the closet shelf is now black. That's kind of really all I needed it to be, and the job got done.
Regardless of how imperfect it looked, the shelf got wrapped. That was really all I needed. So that allowed me to move on to the last step of this project, which was adhering the shelf to the drawer sets and thus creating the vanity. You'd think this would have been an easy, effortless step, right? Yeah, it wasn't.
I ended up getting Gorilla Wood Glue Ultimate. I thought, you know, again, as a normal person, that sounded like a legitimate glue to get. I thought it would be good. I don't know if I just got a faulty product, but this glue was basically solidified in the container and it was taking everything in me just to squeeze any out. If you guys are experts and this is how wood glue is supposed to be, let me know in the comments, but I was having the hardest time trying to squeeze this glue out. I knew the consistency wasn't going to be like Elmer's glue, but y'all, I was putting everything I had into trying to squeeze this freaking glue out of this bottle, and it was not working. So what ended up happening was I gave it to my boyfriend, who was, you know, of course, stronger than I am, so he was able to get it out a little easier. And what you see here is the glue being squeezed out of the top corner that we had to cut. So we just capped the glue with the normal opening that the glue comes with, and we cut the top corner, which made it, for some reason, a lot easier to squeeze out. So as you guys can see, we put glue dots all up and down on the entire surface area of both of the drawer sets to make sure that there was not a part that was going to be loose or come off. Now, after we put all of the glue on, I tried my absolute hardest to line the drawer sets up before I put the shelf on top to make sure that it was the proper distance apart, but I did have to make some adjustments. I left this entire clip in so you guys could see exactly how long it took me to get the closet shelf perfectly positioned onto the drawer set. So don't be afraid if you guys have to move it around. It's not like it dries instantly or anything. So I adjusted it and moved everything around until the drawers were perfectly right underneath the edges of the closet shelf. And there was a little bit of closet shelf hanging over the front and the back. That's kind of what I feel like a normal table looks like. So that's why I talked about the dimensions of the closet shelf being so specific earlier. And eventually I was happy with it and it was done.
So once I adhered the shelf to the drawer sets, I thought I was done. You know, the vanity was built. All of the hard stuff was behind me. That was until I had to move it. It wasn't in the perfect position I wanted it to be for the room. So I thought it would be a simple, easy task just to scoot it back and scoot it over. I had my boyfriend help me move the vanity, and I don't know if we just grabbed it in the wrong place, but while we were trying to move it, the shelf came completely detached from the drawer sets, which is kind of the whole point, right? Like, it's supposed to be a vanity, one piece. So it didn't stay attached. We had to re-glue it. Honestly, when I move out of this apartment, whatever movers I use, I'm gonna pray for them, because I honestly don't know if this is gonna be able to get moved out of here without breaking. I really truly don't even know if it's attached enough for me to trust movers to move it at this point. All I know is there's a really heavy mirror sitting on it now. It's not going anywhere. And I feel confident enough to leave it how it is for right now, but keep that in mind. Maybe do a little bit more research than I did on good adhesives, because the one that I used was not it. Honestly, I'm not going to put all the blame on the glue. It might have been a user error as well, but just keep that in mind. When this thing came apart, it was incredibly frustrating to try to put back together. So if you're going to do it this way, don't touch it. Try not to touch it for a while until you're completely certain that the glue is dry. Once we did get the vanity into place and we put the mirror on top of it, we left it alone, and it's been a whole month since then. And it hasn't fallen apart. I really wasn't sure if this thing was gonna stay together, but it's been 4 full weeks, has not come down on me. And for that reason, I would deem this DIY a success.
And this is how it ended up turning out. I absolutely love the finished product, and I honestly love the imperfections too. It's definitely a statement piece while also being a piece that people might ask me questions about, because it definitely looks a little bit homemade, but I'm really happy with how it turned out.
I finished off the area with a fuzzy gray rug that matches the rug I have under my full-length mirror in another part of the room, and I got this really cute gray stool to match that ended up fitting perfectly. Both of them were from Amazon.
And for the totals, so for the sets of drawers, I paid $135.23. The closet shelf was $17.10, and the wood adhesive glue was $4.26, bringing me to a grand total of $156.59. So just over $150 for the necessary materials. Now, if you want to go all out like I did and get the other materials to build the vanity, I paid $10.58 for the contact paper, $30.58 for the table legs, and my mirror, like I mentioned earlier, was free, bringing me to a grand total of $197.75, coming right in under $200.
And of course, the price will vary depending on the mirror, the seating, and the general decor that you use for the area. Pro tip, a lot of stores have really inexpensive mirrors. Check Walmart, check Amazon, check Home Goods, Big Lots, Target, all those kinds of stores, and you can definitely get a really nice mirror for a really good price. At the end of the day, I am glad I did this. It did save me some money, but it did take a lot of time as well, so that's definitely something to take into consideration. So now for the verdict. If you're not someone who likes doing DIYs and creating and building things like this, I would honestly say this is probably not worth the hassle when you can just buy a vanity that already comes as one collective piece, and it's probably a lot easier to put together. But if you're like me and you like this kind of stuff and you're okay with it being a little imperfect, I would say this was worth it. I'm really glad I did it. It did save me a lot of money, and it's really cool to be able to say that I built this and created this thing myself. So would this be worth it to you? Let me know in the comments down below, and also let me know any other DIYs you guys would like me to try so you don't have to. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you next week. Goodbye, and go thrive.